Hi, and thank you. My name is Jay Chris, and this is TargetedWest.com's conference call work group. It's show number 32. It is the 15th of January, 2023, and it's the Sunday call we have on freeconferencecall.com. Every Sunday, ID is a Targeted West. I'm here in beautiful flooded Lodi, California, and the flooding's still continuing in certain areas where it's low, but the place where I'm at is normal, so I didn't flood. And I'm a man in the middle. I am not violent. I'm too old to be violent. I don't talk about violent stuff. I don't promote it or illegal things, and I'm just trying to get people solutions to why they're being targeted and why they're getting the telepathy in their heads too, like I am. So we're just here to try to figure all that out. And I'm not a patriot. I'm patriotic, and I'm neither left or right. Completely apolitical, or try to be. So tonight on the call, we're going to talk about the main topic, and that is Delta Airlines, who back a few years ago decided to target a pilot. And this wasn't any pilot. This was a PhD person who was a pilot and a mother and a grandmother who was a safety expert for Delta Airlines and was watching the feed from corporate where the CEO of the airline came on and said, if you know of any issues with safety, please let your managers and people know. So she went ahead and did that. So anyway, that's our main topic about whistleblowing. So this is a whistleblowing episode. So if you have whistleblowing stories to share, you can do that with the open mic. So she didn't really whistleblow. She's just sharing her safety concerns. So they decided they're going to do, I think it's a section 15 where they, conclude through a doctor that she's mentally unfit to fly. So they hire this this expensive old doctor to say she's bipolar because there's no way a woman could do all that, quote unquote, which is sexist as heck. And so they've tried to pull this off. They spent millions and millions of dollars just to get rid of her in court fees. And basically grounded her for a short time. And she went through a lot of misery, especially it was on Christmas Eve when they sent her a letter. It was 20 words. It's basically, you are unfit to fly, signed Dr. whatever, and that was it. It's like they sent it to her on Christmas Eve when she thought she was getting a bonus or something. And this is all because the manager didn't want to hear her issues with the safety of some of the airplanes. She was flying an Airbus at the time, and she's qualified in over 8 different airplanes and more. These are big airplanes. She flew internationally for the top airlines over the last 35 years, so she knows safety, and it was a concern, and the manager decided to turn it against her and try to get her fired, which they did. And she went to a lawyer, and they took it to court and got discovery and found out that there's emails exchanged that this manager just didn't want to hear it and wanted to get rid of her and stifle her. So they won in court, and she won the case, and she got her job back at Delta, and they're promising not to ever do that again. I think they changed some of their laws or rules there at the company. But that's a typical story of the way that companies and governments treat whistleblowers. You would think they would congratulate her for exposing concerns about safety in an airline that's so important to the public and getting them safely to their destination. But no, they went after her. And he got the manager that was evil, got all the support he needed from all sorts of directions. He did this to Karen Stewart at the NSA. She got overlooked for a promotion, and some bimbo that was basically hanging out with everybody after work got the promotion instead, got credit for her work. And when she complained, she became a whistleblower and they turned on her hard. There are many stories of whistleblowing. I've heard many on the calls. There's plenty of people that have done it and have had retaliation done against them. So it's not unheard of. But to do that blatantly and then hire this old 92-year-old or whatever doctor that doesn't know what's going on to declare her bipolar is amazing. Well, anyway, the doctor lost his license to practice after that, and he was found to be frauding, and almost, I think he went to jail almost for defrauding and lying in a report about someone's mental health when it wasn't true. So he's gone. Good riddance. But that's how far they'll go, to just try to label someone to get rid of them. They don't want the squeaky wheel to get grease, even though it's for their own good, and a safe airline is a profitable and well-run airline that has no issues. When people feel safe, they'll travel more. So that's the main topic. If you want to discuss that on open mic, you can. That's Delta Airlines lies to fire a pilot for safety concern emails, uses mental illness as a diagnosis as a weapon. This is DJ Chris. It is now 7 minutes after 6 p.m. This is TargetedWest.com. This is DJ Chris. This is our work group. This is the Sunday conference call that is frequented by a lot of people. Let me rest for a minute. But doesn't that make your blood boil that they would go after a 35-year-old veteran pilot with a PhD or 2 PhDs? A grandmother? So of course they go after everybody. I just don't understand it. But California digital plates is the next topic. California decided to be one of the first states to offer digital plates that can be programmed to put a message on the top and the bottom of your plate, and if your car gets stolen, the plate will blink stolen. If you don't pay your registration, it will say you're expired and send a signal out so the cops will get you. And plus, this thing is tracking. It's got a two-way GPS system and tracks everywhere where you go. Well, anyway, the company name is Reviver. That's Reviver, and I believe it's reviver.com. So you can check that out for yourself. Yeah, they use it for fleets, truck fleets and fleets for companies, and they use it in the California state as a product offered to the citizens. And Mercedes-Benz, for a fact, offers it as a premium option to people buying their new Mercedes in California. So that's absolutely insane that they are presenting this product that can be hacked, and they can get in under super user and change the settings and erase the user data from Reviver company. And of course, they say they fixed a hack flaw, but that's probably not true. It's probably still vulnerable to attacks, and it's not ready for prime time, but they're offering it as an option for you so you can be cool. Again, that's the California digital plates can be hacked. Amazing, huh? My name's DJ Chris. It's now 10 minutes after the hour. And the next topic is the Great Storm psyops at the RV park here. Right when the big storm was approaching, people got a little panicked, and the water got really high right next to the driveway here People were freaking out. Not a lot of RV parks and mobile home parks because they're in low-lying properties that aren't exactly the best properties for home use, so they throw them at the mobile home and the RV people to take, usually next to train tracks and rivers where they flood and have noise. So that's the case in this case, at least with the water. And although the train does come through loud sometimes and honk its horn all night, which is rude, but the river's flooded and everything flooded here because they opened up the spigot down upstream, so it came towards us. And then we're between the mountains and the Bay Area and the ocean where it all ends up. So that happened, and it filled up all the water and lawn areas and the dog park and everything all the way up to the top. But it didn't go over into the driveway, and everybody freaked out, and this big psyops happened. And everybody ran off and took their RVs to this cafe office parking lot and parked there, and boondocked it, dry camped there for over a week. Some were there for more than a week. And, well, hello, Nancy. And they basically stayed there for a while. I didn't move, but I did tell everybody what was going on, and I got a lot of prayers. A lot of people thanked me greatly for, not thanked me, but worried and prayed for me for hanging in there, and we did, and persevered, and nothing happened at all. But I would tell you that that tree that they cut out next to me would have fallen because it was dead. And that's why they cut it out just like 2 weeks before the storm. So that was a lifesaver. A lot of trees fell. The fences fell. A lot of stuff. It's a mess. Cars flooded in the over long-term parking. Absolute craziness here. And the way people acted, they were so panicky. And it was some of the people that were in my business during that Patty episode where she was calling the sheriff on me for singing for karaoke, because we have karaoke here. So she was making a big deal because she's a methamphetamine user and her whole family's tweaked out. So she got all freaked, and she got a whole bunch of people involved. And all of a sudden I was the big enemy. And that was my first real legitimate gang stalking COINTEL operation done on me besides the Keystone Cops in 2002. And it was shocking the way people easily get manipulated. And it was all those same people, the freaks, the speed freaks and such around here, that all ran off to the parking lot and hid. So it's amazing. Like we were talking about, Mac G and I were talking about how easily people are influenced in your neighborhood to discredit you. You just have one, two, like, for example, in my home, not at the RV, but where we live too, when I'm not out camping, there's a lady there that badmouths everybody, and she spoiled or soiled the manager's name because we could start thinking he's bad, when in fact all the reviews on the internet say he's a good person, and he helped the mom-in-law and a lot of other people. But she goes, he's a womanizer and he's no good. And so she soiled it. And then before I realized it, you're all thinking he's bad, when in fact it's not true. It's just the fact that someone can just start bad-mouthing you or point a finger, and then it's all over with because all the chicken heads will join in. And that's why you get the gang stalking.
Offered you a place to live.
What?
Offered you a place to live.
Yeah, and this nice manager offered me a place to put my RV and stay while the flooding could have happened here. I mean, that's not what that lady was saying. She was bad. She's a terrible human being. You're going to have those in every neighborhood you go to. You're going to have them in the TI community that will badmouth someone, and one person will start a chain in emails and phone calls and try to take other TIs out. I call them targeted perps. And that's copyrighted because it's in my book, so you can't copyright that. But you get these perps in the neighborhood that have these bad mouths that do this too. And, you know, so this is an example. These crazy chicken heads in this park were the ones that did the gang stalking against me, are also the leftovers that chickened it out during the pretend flooding that never happened here. There are so many rivers and ways of exit for rain here and water that it's physically impossible. Whomever designed this park knew what they're doing because it was graded perfectly. You can see with your eye across to this little mountainous area of the dirt where it's the same height as where the RV is, and there's no way that water is going to come to where I was at. So they got me all spooked out, but I got through it. I slept, and thanks to many people, Frank Allen, Name, Laura, many people emailed me and checked in on me. I really appreciate that. Thank you. God bless you for that. And the cats were okay, and everybody made it. But I just see these chicken heads going crazy, and that's what they do to us in these neighborhoods. All it takes is one bad actor to badmouth someone, and it's like a disease. The smart people know not to listen. It's now 16 after the hour, and the room is crowded. There's a lot of people here. Holy Moses. My name is DJ Chris, like I said, and I'm in the RV, of course. And it's our Sunday call. It's open mic in just a few minutes. You can talk if you're new. You can talk about stuff if you're not new, or whatever you want to talk about, our topics. Next topic is the Targeted Trilogy audiobook, which I had someone help me produce by the name of Tom Lundy, and that book has been finished, and it is over at audible.com right now for final approval, and I will post the link on this video, which you'll find on either YouTube, bitchute, or archive.org. bitchute is going through problems with their banking, and they're not paying them, so let's pray for them and hope they're okay. And then the YouTube page is doing well. I've got more subscribers. So I'll put the link for the Targeted Trilogy audiobook, and it's an hour and 37 minutes long. It came out real good. I listened to the whole thing, and I actually got into it, which is kind of weird. I hope that's not narcissistic. No, I'm just checking to make sure it's okay. Plus, it wasn't even my voice. But anyway, so that'll be available soon. I'll give you that information. That's based on my book I wrote, which is in a print form, and you can buy that right now on any website, the Targeted Trilogy book by TargetedWest. So please check that out. Find it in your heart to support a targeted author. And the audiobook is based on this book. Okay? "18 minutes after the hour. Let's go look into the chat room and see what's going on while I turn pages. As you can see, old school. I noticed a lot of reporters use this method. That's my page. Flip it over to open mic. Okay, open mic. First topic will be music therapy. I'm going to whittle in these topics, and we're going to have the book club meeting, which should start right about now. And I'll start that in just a moment, but we're going to go in and switch modes so the call's open. Whew. Okay, it's open mic. If you want to talk, you chime right in. And the next topic is music therapy. I use music therapy, my DJ music I use to block out the V2K. It works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. But you got to play the damn dance music all the time, which gets on my nerves, because I can only handle so much of that energy, and then it gets to you. Okay. Open mic. It's time for the TI Book Club. Oh, hello. Come on in.
What's the title on that article for that Delta pilot so I can look up the info?
It's on my TI Book Club page, and it's right there on the Twitter page, right there. You can't miss it.
Okay, I'm not on Twitter, but I'll look at your book club page. And I had another question, but I forgot what it was.
No worries. So the TI book, go ahead.
I remember that. I think you said it. Did you say that trilogy is on audio? It's an audio book?
Yes, I didn't. I had a person produce an audiobook based on my book, and it's going to be out this week. Yes, sure.
Okay. And the name of it was Targeted Trilogy? But
it's called the Targeted Trilogy Audiobook Collection.
Okay.
Yes, please support me. Thank you.
Yeah.
When it's available for sale, I'll send you the link on the email and such.
Okay.
Because I appreciate your support. So the TI Book Club this week, we're talking about Dr. John Hall's book, The Guinea Pigs book, which I started rereading. I got to page 100. And it's funny, he didn't mention mazers. He mentioned everything but mazers, and mazers are the one word that my telepathy goes crazy when I mention. And maser is an acronym for a magnetic or microwave amplification of selective radiation. So basically, it fits right into the scope of how they're targeting us in one of the modes, which there are many, to the telepathy you get, or V2K, whatever you want to call it. There's more than one way. I think there's 61 ways to put voices in someone's head from last time I counted. Count me wrong if I'm wrong on that, but I know there's many. So Guinea Pigs, Technology of Control. I read the first 100 pages. It's very good. Dr. John Hall is going through some stuff right now, so let's pray for him. He just had a kid. He went to get a colonoscopy, and they nicked one of his main arteries, and he almost bled out. So please pray for Dr. John Hall. And we'll read his book all the way through.
Episode 5, that recent episode that came out on PAX TV?
Yeah, where he looked really thin and his hair was slicked back. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's pray for him for sure, because he doesn't look like the same John Hall I remember.
Yeah. He's been through a lot, like you said, though. But that episode was after he got nicked when they went in for surgery. So it sounds like he made it through, but he has been through a lot, but we all have. So, okay, thanks.
And so does anybody have any comments on Dr. John Hall's book? Have you read it? Let's go over to the chat room where some of the people... There you are. You got the cover. Yes, that's a very popular book. People are always reading Dr. Robert Duncan's books, but we don't give credit to Dr. John Hall's books, which were the only two books. He and Dr. Duncan were the only two books I could find when I first started looking on Amazon for targeted books. And when I read his and Dr. Duncan's books, I was floored. And so, believe it or not, I forget some of what I read, so I reread it. And there's a lot of points that Dr. John Hall makes. And let's switch over to my note page. Always keep notes. Here we are, Dr. Hall.
Hey, Chris.
Laura, is that you?
That's me. Good evening. I'm glad you made it through. I'll get right to the point. I have read Guinea Pig. I also read his other one, which is the first one I ever read, and I'm trying to think what it is. And a new breed, which was his first one, and I think that was a good one to start with because I was so floored and confused and couldn't believe this was going on, and something really weird me when I was reading that book. And helped me figure it all out. Guinea pigs was also jarring, but made me see all the, I want to say mind control around me, or all the influence, and why things were happening the way they were for so long.
And didn't he say on Tax TV that he's writing another book? I thought he said.
I think so. Yeah, I agree. He was.
Yeah. So, our thoughts and prayers will go out to him for sure. Definitely helpful guy.
Yeah, so to the book Guinea Pigs, the first chapter 3 it discusses remote viewing, which we discussed with Russell Tark and SRI. Chapter 4 discusses remote neuromonitoring, which I've discussed, and that's of course how they track you using your bioresonance of your body. He discussed homonyms, which they use on me, like they'll say selves and self and selves, and robbery, berries, hives, HIV, different strange ways to say words differently to trick me, and it's all also NLP. He discusses that. He discusses the Maltech 1976 remote EEG technology that came out, which they're probably using to read our brainwaves. He discusses the Hearing Voices Network, which I discovered too as an alternative. He discusses the Neurophone, which uses the saccule, which is right next to your ear, to vibrate it, and using your skin, you can hear audio. He invented that when he was like 14 or 15, Patrick Flanagan. He discusses Alfred Ackerman. Martin Marietta converts audio signals to ultrasonic frequencies for, can't read that, and why I hear voices. Oh, I see, for liquids, about how they can convert ultrasonic to make liquids make volume of the V2K louder, which is why I hear voices when I run the water. And then page 53, he talks about scalar waves, which not a lot of people talk about, which is probably part of how they are targeting us. Laura, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I was reading something in the chat. I think that I have nothing to say about what you just said. I do have a new book to suggest. I'm sorry, Chris, I wasn't listening. I got distracted.
That's okay, but we read one book at a time, and this one I thought we'd reread, but it's on the recording for everyone to hear. Basically, he discusses remote neuromonitoring, homonyms.
Yeah, I'm still wrapping my mind around that remote neuromonitoring. If you can use that.
And then he talks about MAEs, which I use the acronym Microwave Audio Effects, which is also the voices in the head, which was discovered through the Frey effect.
Yeah. See, I've been very lucky to not have voice to skull. However, I have had poor speech when I was very young. So I believe he has a chapter in that as well.
Yeah, the forced speech is what they did to me when I owned my house. They would go up and down the driveway talking like my dad every morning. It was scary. I couldn't stop it. I would get myself so wound up. And now I found that if I take a high blood pressure pill in the morning, it prevents me from getting wound up and crazy like that.
Well, no, it wasn't crazy. It was one sentence, and I've watched it ever since. I've monitored ever since. It doesn't happen often, and it's not like flying off the handle and telling somebody to go shove it. It's something that doesn't happen to me often, but it's definitely synthetic. I'm aware of it. I've also had the limb manipulation where I threw a shake across the room once. I believe that was just to make me...
Oh, that's no good. That'll smell for a long time. That smells.
It was in Baskin Robbins. It was in front of my family, and it was to make me appear crazy.
Of course.
You know, I've never had anything like this. I was talking to him about something very serious, and my hand flings this shake across the, restaurant to where they have to clean it up, and it's a big deal, and it makes me look very stable. So that's the only other limb manipulation I've had in public. But
so you learn not to order milkshakes from now on.
I just watched very carefully. I heard Liz say one time, and she's a sewer. I heard her say one time she didn't even get out her sewing wheel because she just didn't feel good to do it that way. I get that. Or she just wasn't feeling up to it that day. I just make sure I really trust myself when I'm doing anything, and but I'm very aware of that now. That was something that was like, whoa. I also had mind control in public one time. I'll never forget it. And it's something I documented in my journal heavily, because when you do something that you didn't intend to do, and you had thought it out, and you didn't intend to do it, you went in, you did it, you said, what? So you write it down, and you remember it. It doesn't happen again.
You mentioned that you had B2K when you were very young. Like, when you say very young, how old?
No, I did not have B2K. I had forced speech.
Oh, forced speech. Okay. So how old or what age did you have it?
7.
Wow.
7. It didn't happen again until I was much older, but I was very aware of it being there. Yeah, it scared me more than people around me. And it wasn't even, I want to say my voice, but I don't know if anybody recognized that.
Okay, well, are you ready for the next topic? When you guys are ready, I'll tell you. Last night I was on Derek's call, and he was going to talk about the targeted justice lawsuit, and I have all the information right here for you right now. If you're watching this video on your preferred platform, Targeted Justice has a lawsuit amendment. That means they added more to the lawsuit with more names and information. I read the whole entire thing. They filed it on January 11th, 2023, and everybody on the call right now and in the chat room, write this down. It's targetedjustice.com/lawsuit.html. Again, if you're on your preferred platform, that's targetedjustice.com/lawsuit.html, and we'll put that in the chat room. And they have amended their lawsuit to add more information to it, and it is available on their website to look at. Very important. Targeted Justice originally began their organization with the offering of a lawsuit. People have been asking them for a while what was going on, and this is the response. They have added a substantial amount of more information to the lawsuit, and they've directed it at Merrick Garland and some other folks in the government, directed at them to, in the lawsuit, civil lawsuit, was a group of people named, and one of them's Karen Stewart, and I think Susan Olson's in there, and a few others.
So, Chris, I need that one more time. It's targetedjustice.com/lawsuit.
.html is targetedjustice.com/lawsuit.html.
Thank you.
Open mic if anybody wants to talk. It's now 35 after the hour, and I have one more open mic topic for show number 42. Today's the 15th of January 2023. My name is DJ Chris, and this is TargetedWest.com if you're watching. And the last topic is a TikToker exposes a new AI scam that is terrifying people, and it uses your voice to deep fake your voice and call your family and ask for money. And this person's parents gave out $24,000 to a stranger thinking their son was in trouble. And so what people have to do now is if you have family relations with people, make sure you have a password or something, because they got scammed out of a lot of money and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. And when they confronted the scammer, the guy says, "No, I just do this for a living, no, nothing personal, you know." And they asked him, "Well, how much did you make out of that $24,000? He goes, I just made $1,000 just by connecting you with the criminals." So this is organized crime. Organized crime people are behind this targeting and the V2K. It's a form of human trafficking, remote human trafficking through the brain. They found a way to exploit our brain and our body functions, our sacral chakra, doing sexual attacks on us and verbal attacks in our head and zapping our bodies with Havana syndrome. I mean, never ending. And then when you go to get help, you get labeled a kook. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. When the Havana syndrome's on mainstream TV, and then the CIA just the other day comes out and says it's all made up in your head. They're still denying that it's real. What a joke! And boy, I got so much response on my TI Club 3 Twitter page out of that. It was amazing. People really got mad. So make a secret password for your family and your friends, and don't let that ever happen to you, because I can't have it happen to me because I don't have any money to give anyone. So I'm good, but I have people around me that have a little bit of retirement money, and I don't want to see them get in trouble. So I make sure that they don't fall for that. And they glean a lot of this information to gain intel on you from social media. So they'll read your social media posts if it's not private, and they'll use it in the call to scam your family. Because you're using your real name on Facebook. They don't let you use a fake name because you have to be identified, because it's another CIA form. That's LifeLog turned into Facebook. I mean, give me a break. And it's so easy for the criminals to use, because you have to tell people who you really are when the criminals don't have to. Any comments on open mic?
Yeah, is that another article about where you can use somebody else's voice for that scam? And what is the title? If it's an article?
It's on the TI Club 3 page, and it says TikToker exposes new AI scam, and in capital letters it says terrifying. You'll find it.
Okay, thank you.
Very important that you read that. That's very important. It's a scary time out there. You know, the evil criminals are using this technology against us. And people are too lazy to go make a phone call to make sure their family members are okay. They just automatically send money. And it happens with seniors. You know, a lot of older people get scammed. including myself, I could be scammed. But like I said, I don't have any money to scam with, so I'm good to go on that fact. Open mic.
Sorry, Chris, I'm reading this, but they're demanding an immediate cease and assist, trying to understand what they're doing here.
Is there some action going on in the chat room?
I don't know. I'm not in the chat room. Sorry, I'm reading the Targeted Justice.
Oh, you are? Very good. How does it look? I read it earlier.
I'm just, there's a lot of familiar names. There's a lot of good information. They do mention Ted Gunderson, who wrote a really good book as well back in 2011, being a great big advocate for us earlier on. They have all the right people, it looks like. I don't know. I'd like somebody else's opinion on that. I mean,
my Huggy Bear's in bed laying down because she's got the flu, so the neighbor sent her some chicken soup, so she's recovering. So it's just you, Laura, and me.
we got a lot of others out there. I'll give somebody else a chance.
Anybody want to open mic in? Come on in and talk. Come on in. Anybody? Comments? Anything you got going on? Do you have anything you want to announce? Come on in. Laura, how about you? Do you have anything to announce? How's your poetry book going? You were talking about a rally and stuff.
No rally. Yep.
Broke up.
Hey, Johhny, what you doing? Come on in.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Same old stuff.
Another day in paradise, huh?
Yeah, you got to turn your volume down just about 10%.
All right. Let's see. Microphone. Audio settings. Okay, boom. About that.
There you go. Now you're fine. Yeah, it's the same old crap here. My neighbor died, KFC lady, and she, cigarette smoking KFC lady with her vodka, died finally.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week. As a matter of fact, I want to talk to you private later in the chat if we can, in a one-on-one about what happened. I don't want to discuss it in front of everyone. But yeah, it's been an odd week. I'm fighting the system, trying to win, knowing that I can't. Got to hang out with Laura the other day and Krista. We had a little steak cookout and everything. That was good.
Oh, that's good. You guys all got to meet.
Yep.
I enjoy doing things that my perps hate, that they don't want me to do, so I do them on purpose.
Yeah, that's what I like doing. I like really going out there and testing the limits. And sometimes I test them too far. And you usually don't know that you did till it's too late.
Oh, but I go back and do it again. They try to get me not to do something, or try to tell me that they don't like if I do something particular. I go back and do it again. I don't care.
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, that's what I've always done, but this time, now I'm on probation, and yeah, I'm like in trouble. So now it's like, okay, well, if you don't chill out and you don't do this, and we're gonna put you in jail, and then when I call them out, I'm like, hey, like this is what's going on, and this is going on, and then it's like they really start coming down hard, like, okay, you think life's tough right now, and we're giving you hell. Keep on running your mouth and see what happens.
Oh, okay. And
Well, I'll behave for a little bit, and then they push me, over the edge, and then I'm like, all right, this, and then they're like, all right, we got you again. Then they turn it up, so I'm struggling with
I don't run my mouth. I just do it. I just do whatever I'm gonna do, and they don't like it, and so. But I don't say a word. I don't speak to anybody.
Yeah, well, I feel like this: when you got handcuffs in your face and they're telling you to behave, or else.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, that sounds like they're threatening you in a different manner. For me, they're just trying to target me royally when they don't like where I park my car, but I don't care. I'm gonna go back there when they bug me.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Laura, what's up?
Do just what I want to do, and me and Krista wanted to go down and visit Johhny, and he cooked us a steak. It was so awesome. We walked on ice. Well, I walked on ice, and just enjoyed each other, and was able to talk and visit. Amazing. Very powerful.
Yay.
Oh yeah, I do what I want to do, but Johhny is actually right there on the front lines of hell, so he is fighting something that might be bigger than he can fight back on. It reminds me of the U.S. State Department going up against the FBI, the CIA, the Pentagon. It reminds me of that kind of a situation, only in a smaller
Exactly.
form, but, yeah.
It could be tied in. But
now, when it says Johhny, Colorado, is that the Johhny we're talking about? I mean, you're talking to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. Same Johhny. But yeah, I mean, I take pride in the fact that I've always bucked the system and called out, injustices, and when I see something ain't right or whatever, I stand up and say something, like one thing that happened, that actually has been on my mind lately because I've been talking to a friend of mine, my old battle buddy from the Army, and he's an African American, and we had this, support group going, and it was all white people pretty much. And, everyone knows racism, exists everywhere. You're not going to escape it, really. Well, anyways, so I brought my battle buddy, who's an African American, to the meeting, and it was kind of, a new thing for everyone there. And one of the commanders was like, all right, went into this whole speech about how, we're all green and, no racism and all this stuff, which is like this. If there's no racism and we're all the same, why did he need to go into that speech? Because all of a sudden we had an African American there, And
because it's burned into people's brains from the past. Yeah, it's hard to shake that.
Yeah, so as soon as he got done, I said, he's talking about there is no racism and we're all this and blah, blah, and in the ranks there is no difference and there is no discrimination or whatever it was. And me and him both know different. He's been through it. And I said, I object to that. I said, it's alive and well. And it's alive and well here too. And, I said, I've been a victim to it and so was he. And they did not like that. They did not like that at all.
Sexism will always remain too, but that doesn't bother me. I mean, it did when I was 20 and I was looking for work in male-dominated fields. but I just wouldn't go where they didn't want me. Where they wanted me, I would go. But that was just me. But both of those will always be prevalent in our society, always.
Yeah, and he's a targeted individual, the gentleman I'm speaking of, and he was targeted while he was on active duty and run out and targeted on the street and put on the street from active duty with no money, nowhere to go, living out of his car, and then they took his car and they ran him all the way down. He's still up like this, and this is probably about a year and a half when he got his discharge officially. And I talk to him all the time, and like a lot of the times, just like me, it's like, I think it might be turning around, like, keep your head up, brother. And then the next time he talks, like, oh no, it didn't turn around, man, it's still going. But he's in DC right now, actually living with some people who are active working at the Pentagon, and he's in some program, and he just enrolled in school, but he says he feels like he's gonna snap a lot. Yeah. He's like, hey, it takes everything I got just not freak out, man. I'm trying to make it through this, but I did enroll in school, and
And a lot of TIs are driven, out to living in their vehicles or on the street. So we're hearing a lot more. I'm hearing a lot more and more of that, seeing that many a TI has become homeless, or they've taken to living in their vehicle.
Or RV like I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like sometimes I think that every last homeless person in the United States was selected to be homeless. Sometimes, it's like how far do they, how much control do they have over everyone, and how far do they go? And I think that there's a lot of people who are targeted.
They control everything, so everything's controlled by them. So of course, the ultimate way to break you down is to put you on the street.
Yeah, and a lot of these people on the street that are TIs don't even know that. There's probably they're saying a million TIs or whatever it is that we got here. There's probably like everyone's a TI, and we're just the ones who are awake and know that we're TIs. So we're problems, or we were selected to go through a little bit different, experimentation than the rest of society who doesn't know what's going on.
It's because we're interesting and smart, and they don't want us to succeed because we will get too many people wound up and involved in trying to make everything better, and the powers that be don't want that. They don't want people that help people, for sure. That's the one thing. Helping people is a sin in their eyes. They want you to go to the government for help, where you'll be failed every time.
Yeah, and like we were talking about on a prior call, and I said, I've been told, hey, just shut up, and the TI stuff will stop. And you're like, no, it doesn't stop. They just say that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've shut up before, and it doesn't work. So I get loud and all that, but I'm back to a point now where I'm just like, I feel like they might feel like I'm a threat. I'm not trying to get, offed or set up, so, I probably just need to really watch myself and be careful, tone it down a little bit.
Well, that's my problem, is that I tone it down too much and I don't get energized at the right moment. So I need to be more of you and you need to be more of me. I know. It's a balance. We all learn those things in life. You'll get it. Don't worry.
Yeah, we got to find that balance. And
well, that's why we all work together, because we can do different things that others can't, including influencing. And the right words, the word usage and such.
It's my birthday here in 4 days, and
oh, happy birthday there. You're going to be 29. That's a good year. Very good.
No, I'm going to be 44.
Oh,
wow.
We're still young. That's young. I'm 62 now.
Okay. That's how old my roommate is.
Yeah. Well, God bless him. Is he getting old like me? Because I am.
Oh, and he's been through it. Like
Yeah.
Laura and Krista, they got to meet him the other day and listen to his stories. He's what I'll call a low-profile TI. He's been through it. He's seen it all. He knows he's been tortured and everything. He's just past it and lives his life now. But if you want to talk to him, like he'll sit down and he's got some stories that are very true and that will blow your mind. And, he's ex-Air Force and Black Ops and, but anyways, last year, go ahead.
Sorry, I just said he blew my mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking like last year I was freaking out and around my birthday, because they attack on birthdays and Christmas and holidays, and I checked myself into the hospital, and what didn't do any good. It was kind of maybe a little educational just to get another view from a different location, kind of analyze what was happening, but I was definitely getting messed with in there. But I'm almost tempted to do the same thing again this year. And I busted out and I told some people, okay, I went through this, and now they're coming at me basically, trying to discredit me and threaten me and all that stuff with the legal system. And now they're saying, oh, he's crazy and needs to, go get an evaluation and this and that and whatever. So I got a court order the other day that actually told me I had to go get an evaluation. So it's like I got to do it anyway. So I might just break down and check myself in there. And
why did you check yourself into a hospital?
I put like this. It's a long story. I really don't want to get into the details. What happened around that time, actually, well, for a long time, I was getting stalked here in Colorado, and, one of the people in my chain of command at the military kept on telling me, check yourself in. And I was like, no, I've already been here. I've done this. Like, I'm not doing that. And I'm not going to go in there and sit there and tell these doctors the stuff that's going on. No, you have to. And I was like, no. And I had left. I was like, I'm getting out of here. And I packed up all my stuff and I went and hit the road. And it was happening everywhere I went. And it was hell out there on the road. And I about freaked out a bunch of times when I was on the road. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get back. Yeah. And my roommate, the guy that we're talking about, his former Black Ops and Air Force, he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, you need to get back here, man. He's like, it ain't, come on back home. And I was like, dang, so I made it back, and I was so exhausted and so stressed out and so freaked out from all what I had experienced out there, just traveling around the country. And I literally went from Arizona, California, New York, Florida, back up north, back down south, back. I went all over the place. It was, a lot of it was fun. I do like being on the
Brian 2 tour. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Doesn't get any better, does it?
No, and I got back, and I just was exhausted when I got back, and I was like, I'm gonna go to the hospital and just see if it does any good. So I was like, I'm going, and I asked for my phone on my birthday, and I was like, can I see my phone for a minute and make a quick call? And so they handed me my phone. And I had this text, a group text on my phone, and there was like 50 people in it. And they were talking about this party that they were having and how great it was, and they were like describing the food and all this stuff. And then they said, anyone who wishes Johhny happy birthday is going to get blacklisted. And they're like, everyone leave the chat. So they just like came in there and put something on my phone, like, rub it in my face, all this great times people were having, and then, told everyone, don't tell him happy birthday or you're going to get blacklisted, which I've already seen that. People have shown me, like, where they got threatening messages on their phone saying that if they had anything to do with me, that they would get blacklisted, and, all kind of bad stuff would happen to them.
No, it's funny. I was reading John Hall's book, and he had somebody that read his book contact the FBI, and the person at the FBI told the person that John Hall was a POS and to don't contact them. So, yeah, they do that on all levels. You're right. Anyway, the end of the call's happening here. Thank you for listening on BitChute, YouTube, or archive.org. I appreciate it. My name's DJ Chris. We got Johhny, Laura, and EC here tonight, and we'll be here next week. We'll be talking about ARPA-H and SparkGap technology that someone in emails talking to me about. SparkGap is the technology they used in the Titanic to communicate with the shore using spark in a Morse code type of effect. That's also illegal because it causes interference. We'll be talking about that next week. Thank you for watching. The recording is ending now.